Friends, welcome back to Leadosophy. Coming up, part 2 of my interview with my youngest son, Carson Woody. Again, he's going to talk about some more wrestling stuff. He loves talking about wrestling. So when someone's passionate about something, I firmly believe, especially at that age, let them fuel their own fire. And that's what I try to do a little bit in this second episode, and I think you'll see what I mean. Hope you enjoy it. Here we go. You talk about your, as far as wrestling this summer, talk about all the play, because you did a lot of traveling this year for your summer wrestling. Mm-hmm. It's like a club team. Yeah. Talk about some of the places you visited and some of the tournaments you were wrestling at.
A couple notable ones. It was called Disney Duels. We didn't go to Disney, but it was in Florida. It was in Orlando.
Sure.
Around everything. So it was really fun. I haven't been to Florida in like a year or two. It's been a while.
Sure.
So it was really fun going back. I missed the heat. In Ohio, it's not the greatest weather, but Florida, it was definitely a lot of fun. We stayed in these condos that they rented out.
Sure.
And it was a lot of fun. You and your friends, everyone's in the house and get to mess around, like go swimming and.
Did you have a pool in this little condo?
We had a big pool that everyone got to stay in.
You guys weren't causing like mischief in the condos?
No, not really.
Do you have a curfew? No. Like you got to be in bed? Really?
I mean, they said like be in bed by like 10, but it wasn't really enforced.
All right, you're not gonna get in trouble for saying that, are you?
No. You're just kind of.
All right, so you weren't causing mischief though. You weren't.
No, we were
throwing lawn chairs off the top of the roof.
No, it's.
All right. Okay. Good.
Good job. Trying to wrestle the next day,
Sure.
Ain't trying to.
And you
trying to break a window.
And you in these wrestling tournaments, there's wrestling competition from all over the country, all over the United States.
Yeah, everyone's all over the country. I mean, I've wrestled kids from about every state by now. Like
sure.
Everyone's.
You ever wrestle any kid from Alaska?
No, or Hawaii, I guess. No, I haven't.
No, Hawaii. I was just curious.
I don't think so.
Okay.
First, like California.
Sure.
Yeah, just about.
And you've wrestled some pretty good competition as well.
I have. These are all, since it's a lot of off season. This is when like all the good kids decide to come out and wrestle. So I have a lot of people who like in their state have done super well and got really far. And
so is it safe to say that you took a lot of butt whoopings from some really good wrestlers?
Yes, I definitely have. Like I said, I've only won around 6 to 8 matches out of 60.
And that's very humble of you to say that. And
I mean, I just lost a bunch. There's not much getting around it. I mean, if you lose,
can't sugarcoat that one.
No, you can't. Like if you lose that many matches, there's not an excuse for every single match. It's just you're just not as good as the other person.
But what are the benefits of wrestling a lot better competition?
A lot better. The benefits of wrestling people stronger or just like far superior technique than you is you learn a lot from them. So at practice I wrestle the same kid. The whole for the majority of practice, like wrestling him, drilling, going live matches with him, but you get used to and familiar to his style, his techniques in wrestling, that it's just like.
Does it get to a point where you're not necessarily learning much?
You know
what to expect.
Yeah, you know what to expect. You can't take much away from it. Right. So wrestling all sorts of good competitive matches, you learn all sorts of different things from them, like what they're doing, and you take a lot away from it, and
a lot of technique stuff.
A lot of
technical stuff.
A lot of technical stuff in wrestling. I could talk on and on about it, but
no, it's fine.
It's
there's a lot of life lessons about whatever technical skills.
I'd say so. Sure. And like I said, it's just like you're wrestling all sorts of different people with all sorts of different styles, and it's just really interesting how some people wrestle compared to others, and you just learn a lot, and you can kind of try and get familiar or try and wrestle like that, like just adapt yourself to it.
Sure.
So I find that really interesting about it. It's because all wrestling isn't the same. It's all different.
Yeah, totally.
In some people's eyes. Within some sports, it's like, oh, I just do this over and over again.
Sure.
I like wrestling because it's always evolving and changing, and technique develops and changes throughout like years of wrestling too. So that's just something I really enjoy about it.
That's what you like about it. What about you went to Virginia Beach?
Yeah, Virginia Beach. That was another big one with a lot of great competition. I didn't win a single match.
Really?
It was Virginia.
Was it a lot of East Coast competition? Was there a lot of?
It was more East Coast. I mean, there's people from
Even the West Coast, but
West,
sure.
but it was mainly East Coast.
Sure.
Which East Coast happens to have a lot of good competition, like New Jersey and
Sure.
I believe Florida. So
Yeah.
I mean, it was crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So Virginia Beach, you went to Alabama, you went to West Virginia,
Yeah.
you went
West
to
Virginia.
Pennsylvania.
Yes.
So these are great life experiences, right? Traveling across the United States,
Yeah.
doing, well, at least on the East Coast side, right?
Yeah.
What's the one moment of what's the biggest moment that stands out from your summer of wrestling?
Biggest moment was recently in Alabama. Alabama was the last match I went to.
Yeah.
And
That was just last weekend.
Yeah, it was last
Right.
weekend when I won a match, and this match to me was the first one I was actually proud of, because I've won like I said, I've won a couple matches over these tournaments, but I to me they were just like they were kids that I wasn't really like happy with. I was like, oh, I was definitely like better than them.
Sure.
They definitely weren't as good.
So what happened here that stuck out? Well,
This match that I wrestled with was a kid that, to me, like wrestling him, he felt really good.
sure.
He had great technique, and he's as strong as I was, but I ended up winning because I felt like it was because I was the better person in that match.
You felt like you guys were equal competition.
I felt like we were equal competition, and I was really excited when I came out, winning, because like I said, a lot of throughout wrestling, what is it? It's just I felt like I wasn't improving at all, and I would get very frustrated because, I'm just.
You want to see some results. You want to see some fruit from your effort.
Yeah, I eventually wanted to see some results from, because I've been wrestling a lot.
You have put in a lot. You have put in a lot of time.
I put in a lot of time and effort into the sport, and I wasn't seeing any results after a couple months. So to finally win a match that was equal to me, I felt like was
the fruit that had blossomed.
It was the best. It was like one of the best feelings ever. I was like super high off that match, and
sure.
The feeling to me was great, and that's.
Were your coaches excited for you?
Yeah, my coaches were excited. They showed me stuff I can do. Made me go do sprints because I was out of shape. First thing I did after I won that match was.
You were out of shape for that match?
Yeah, a little bit. I was out of shape.
Even the kid that you beat, he was in better shape than you?
I'd say so, yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Did you just beat him on technique?
I mean, I wasn't like super out of shape. I was only like a little bit like out of shape compared to him, but I still like I was out of shape, and the coaches can tell I was breathing a little heavy.
Yeah.
And but I mean, yeah, I just ended up having better technique than him, and I took him down a couple times, and
sure.
And I think I was a little bit stronger.
High five.
Not by a lot. High five.
Good job.
Yeah, thank you. But it was really exciting to win.
I can see as you're reflecting on that, even the feelings come back, right?
Yeah, the feeling. It's just like it's such a great feeling to me, and that's why I originally wanted to do all of this in the first place, is to in season next year.
Sure.
To try and relive that feeling, and to relive it in a situation when I wasn't expecting it, because I wasn't expecting to win a whole lot of matches this summer.
Sure.
That's why I'm not super upset about it.
Right.
It's because I just winning it was good for me.
Yeah.
I really needed that.
That's awesome. Did you have any low points this summer?
Yeah, there's a couple of times if you
don't mind, if you wanted to, you don't have to talk about it.
No, it's fine.
Maybe what was a low spot for you?
At the Disney especially. I think it was around like 5th, 4th match. I just went out there. I ended up, I lost a match before, so I was a little upset from that. And I went out, wrestled this match. And
Are we talking hours later?
Just like an hour or two.
Okay.
It was like an hour or two after.
Okay.
And I went out and I just lost, like fast, like just like that. It was.
Did you get pinned?
Yeah, I got pinned.
Okay.
I got pinned like 10, 20 seconds in.
Sure.
And I was super upset. I was like, man,
yeah.
I was really,
talk about that feeling.
I was frustrated about it. That feeling to me is more familiar than the feeling of winning.
Sure.
And it's not fun. It's not pretty, but
it's ugly, right?
It is
sure.
ugly. And but I think everybody experiences it.
Sure.
If they're going through something they like, and if
they're trying to do.
Yeah, they're trying to do their passion, and something doesn't go out how they expected, or they've put in a lot of effort into whatever, and just they don't get their results, and that's what was happening to me.
Sure.
And I
Man, it's your demeanor's changed just thinking about it. As you reflect on that low moment. Maybe I should have started with the low moment and went to the high moment.
Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. It's fine. But it's happened quite frequently over the summer.
Sure.
As I've experienced just those losses, which I never, nobody ever likes to lose,
Sure.
So.
Have you ever felt like, were there moments where you're like, I don't want to do this anymore?
Yeah, there's a lot. There's Disney.
You said there's a lot. There's a lot.
Yeah, there's a lot.
Even Disney, which was last weekend.
Disney.
No, Disney was a few weeks
ago.
Yeah, it was like a month ago. Okay.
It was like, because Disney.
Alabama was last weekend.
Alabama, yeah. Alabama was last weekend. Disney to everyone that went on the team was like the big tournament of the summer.
It was like the Super Bowl.
It was like the Super Bowl of wrestling. Like everybody goes to it. There's like hundreds of teams there.
Sure.
Which is a lot.
Sure.
And
it's known all over the country, right?
Yeah, it's like all over the country. It's the biggest in off-season wrestling competition high school.
Sure.
It's like Disney duels. So like going there and losing a bunch, I was really upset, and I was like, I just don't want to be here anymore.
Sure.
Like I put in all this effort, all this time, just to lose like 8 or it was close to 15, I believe.
Yeah.
Matches. So it's just like.
And you persevered, man. You got through it.
Yeah, I ended up getting through it.
That says a lot about your character.
I appreciate that.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah, I ended up getting through it. I wasn't the only one, because there like a couple kids on the team were
struggling.
Were like my position.
Sure.
So we were all like, I just don't want to be here. Like, this is terrible. Like we're just losing over and over and over and over again, and it's just such a demoralizing.
Yeah, that's a good word, demoralizing.
It's terrible. So.
But you got through it.
I got through it.
Yeah.
I didn't wrestle for like 3 weeks after Disney, until I was told there's Alabama, and I was like, oh, I'll go to that.
Sure.
So I started training again, but
maybe that's why you were a little out of shape, because you took a couple weeks off, right?
I took a couple weeks off, which I haven't taken that long off since I started like wrestling in season.
Sure.
So, but I pushed through it, and I believe the main reason why I'm capable of pushing through such things is because I like wrestling.
Sure.
I mean, there's times where I'm like, I hate this, like I don't want to be here, but overall, I mean, I just love the sport, and that's why I'm putting in so much time and effort into it, is only because I like it so much.
I think it's safe to say, because I know there are kids that are in sports or in an activity. It doesn't have to be sports, right? It could be whatever.
Yeah.
Maybe they're forced to be in a certain activity.
Oh yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So I would think it would be much harder if a kid doesn't want to be in that certain activity, and they're experiencing adversity, even failure.
I agree.
And it's repetitive. They're going to have a lot harder time getting self-motivated. Mm-hmm. Is that safe to say?
Self-motivated.
Sure.
You
have a passion for wrestling, so you would generate your own self-motivation to get through.
It's easy for me to have a lot of self-motivation. That's because I have a passion for wrestling. I like it. But I've met a couple kids who are definitely not motivated. Not motivated because they're just forced to be there.
Sure.
Which is not unfortunate, but those types of kids end up being pretty good at the sport too.
Yeah.
Which is,
you're like, I wish I could just have your skill, like some of your natural ability.
It's just like because I've seen like a lot of kids like, oh, I hate wrestling, but they're just so good at it. You know?
Sure.
Just because they've been forced to do it since they're so young, and like they've just already been through all that experience.
And again, it doesn't have to be. I mean, I've seen all kinds of sports and activities.
Right. It's not even just wrestling. I mean, like basketball, soccer. Like it's every sport.
Interesting.
Which is always not. It's not a good thing to see, because it's just sad to see that these people
they don't want to be there.
Yeah, they don't want to be there, but maybe it's like their parents or coaches or just like really pressuring them or like making them do the sport. So I think self-motivation there is definitely lacking, and it's really hard to generate some. But you just always got to keep your head up. I mean, like it's hard for someone like that to do it, but if you're forced to be there, there's not much you can do about it. You can only try and make the best of it.
Make the best of it, right?
Make the best of it, just like a school almost, if you don't want to be there.
What a couple more questions on wrestling because I find it fascinating and I've learned. You taught me a little bit. I was curious on the point scoring system for wrestling today, but what is there a point do you think where if the competition of the person you're facing is so much better than you, or if there's such a gap where you're not really going to learn a whole lot if you just go out there and get pinned in 5 seconds and it's just completely you get dominated?
Yeah.
Is there a point where, like, dude, I'm not learning anything here. I'm just getting my butt whooped?
I think so. I mean, more or less.
Sure.
Actually, now that I think about it, yes and no. There's not a whole lot of technique. You know, obviously, if you're just going out there 5 seconds, boom, the match is over. Like, there's not a whole lot you can take.
Like, you don't even know what happened. It happened so fast, right?
Yeah, it all happens so fast. There's not much you can say about it.
Sure.
Take away from it. But I think there's something mental that you can always take away from a
So
loss.
you're saying every loss, no matter how short it was, no matter how bad you got dominated,
it's always
there was something you could take away.
There's something you can take away from it. Like I said, that match where I got out 20 seconds, the match was over. Although I was very frustrated, I just understood that, or tried to understand that, you know, I'm just...
Sure.
At the end of the day, he was the better man, and maybe that would motivate me to become a better...
Do you think that maybe even like when you get dominated like that, just the psychological processing of that quick defeat, abrupt defeat, maybe that helps you? Maybe that'll help you in life?
Yeah.
Being able to push through that?
It's definitely a life...
Because like you said, there was a couple times where you're like, dude, I don't want to, this is ridiculous.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, yeah, definitely. There's times where I'm just... I don't
so maybe it builds up a little psychological, like resilience.
Yeah, resilience, yeah. That's a good word for it.
Okay.
It's just, you know, you made a really good point about there's always something to take away from a loss. Even if
Well, you made that point. I was thinking like maybe some of the losses are just like, okay, that was pointless to go out there and get crushed. But you were like, no, even every loss, you can take something away no matter how quick it is. Or
that's what I think. It's just you. At the end of the day, if you're passionate about it, or you know you just want to be better at it every day. If you're going out to get pinned, let's just go back to the wrestling room, go to practice, and just try and get better.
Back to the drawing board.
Back to the drawing board.
Sure.
Back to the drawing board. And maybe you have put a lot of time in, and you start doing good about it, and then you go out and wrestle more matches, and maybe you're still losing pretty bad, but say you get pinned in the second period instead of 5 seconds. Like that could be a huge...
It's progress.
It's progress. It's progress, and progress always takes time for almost no matter what it is. You can't always expect results instantly, so...
You're saying there's no overnight success?
There's no overnight success.
Unless you win the lottery.
Unless you win the lottery, then that is pretty good for you, man. But I'd say for the most part, there isn't a whole lot of overnight success, and if you really want something, just work for it.
That's it. Work hard.
Work hard.
One final question on wrestling. What's good sportsmanship look like in wrestling? What's that?
Always shake their hand at the end of the match.
Okay.
You know, like say good job.
Even when you're defeated.
You're defeated, I always like shake their hand and put my hand over, like, you know,
sure.
Good match. I always try my best to be a good sportsman about it, because some people maybe if they're really down, like whenever I lose a match pretty bad, but if like the person that beat me, if they like, you know, like shake my hand, like hug me, like good job, man, did good, like
that makes you feel good.
It makes me feel great. Like it makes me feel not great, but like a lot better about the situation. It makes me like, oh, okay, you know, he appreciates me.
It's the human side of
it's the human side, which is
of competition,
right? And I think sportsman is a really, really important aspect of every single sport, no matter what it is.
Yeah, not just sports either, right? Just life in general.
Just life in general. Just being a good person about it is
sure. I think it takes a lot of courage for two people to go out on the mat like that, you know, kind of in the middle of everyone and just try to give their best, not just technique but strength, and to do that in the limelight, you know, in front of everybody. Right. It takes a lot of guts to do that.
I'd say so, and I respect almost anyone that does it, which is why I never really have a hard time with showing good sportsmanship to another person, is because I always respect, you know, that they're out here in the first place, whether I won or they won. Like, you just always have to respect it. And
have you seen anyone? Well, I don't need to talk about anyone specific, but in these tournaments over the summer, have you seen anyone with it looks like maybe high egos, super cocky?
Yeah, there's a lot of that in wrestling too. Yeah, because you will come across someone. Oh my God, I've seen so many. A really disrespectful thing to do, and that I've seen is when people are getting ready to pin someone, they're on top of them. They like wave to mom and smile, or like throw out like cool signs. Like it's like like demoralizing because they're doing this like it's nothing, and it's just like you feel terrible because you put in so much work or you tried so hard. And they're like
throwing a peace sign to their brother.
Yeah, because it's just like nothing to them.
Okay.
So I've seen a lot of that. And I've seen a lot of actually at Alabama this last weekend. I've seen that this kid was arguing, like screaming, like at the coaches and at the
kid. Really?
Yeah, because I mean he won, but like he was like they were mad because the coach was like, oh, he won by something stupid. So
sure,
he's really high off.
So
his
just
ego.
Kind of disrespectful.
Yeah, he's just disrespectful.
I would say was he more of like a older like junior senior high school or
he was 16.
16. You know, you see someone like that and it's like, I hope that doesn't translate into his adult life.
Yeah.
Because sometimes it's easy to see someone act like that as a 15, 16, 17-year-old
and then just watch it.
Dude, I hope this kid isn't like this when he's in a job in his 20s and act like that.
It can't.
Because that's not going to work out well, right? Carson, Woody, it's been an absolute awesome time.
Yeah, I thought so. I had a blast.
Did you have fun?
Yeah, I really did.
Do you have any any general thoughts, final thoughts?
Not really, but it's just something I'd say is just always keep your head up. Keep your head up. Academics, sports, jobs, works. Like, it's just always a good thing in general. Just always keep your head up. Always
try to remain positive and optimistic.
About almost any situation, you have to look to the bright side. I mean, it's corny. Everyone says it, but it's true.
That is true. That's
the reason why everyone says it's because it means
some
something.
People can say it's cliche or corny, but I mean it's
true.
It's stood the test of time for a reason.
It definitely has. I agree.
What about you're here in DC for about 3 more days? You're going flying back on Thursday. What any one thing you want to do in DC while you're here? Still, you want to see? You think of? You kind of hit all the big ones today, all the big monuments, and I'd like to maybe go to a museum or two.
Yeah, go to a museum or two. So, I don't know. We'll
figure it out.
I just want to spend time with you guys and
cool.
I want to do a little bit more sightseeing because I definitely enjoyed it a lot. It was a whole lot of fun.
Awesome. Well, thanks for being here, buddy.
I appreciate it.
Super jacked that you hit your first Leadosophy podcast.
Yeah, I have to do this more often, huh?
Let's see if you can get the Leadosophy is about using the tools of philosophical thought to deepen our understanding of leadership and of life, which you did that. I think maybe you helped someone out there today deepen their understanding of a little bit about your life, what you've learned and some things you've learned over the last year and a half, and maybe some takeaways for them, whether they have kids or whatever, because maybe we have some adults on here that have kids your age.
Yeah.
So maybe, some conversation pieces around the dinner table.
I'd hope so. All
right, Carson. High five, man.
High five.
All right. Thanks for watching, everybody. We'll catch you next time.
Thanks for watching and listening to another episode of Leadosophy. If you liked what you heard today, hit that subscribe button and check out Leadosophy.com and learn more about Tim's ideas on philosophy and leadership. We'll see you next time.